I keep thinking about this one thing that I saw in the hills surrounding the Cairngorms. B17, last year. Living pretty much between where it goes from typical Aberdeenshire fields and villages to nothing but highland hills as far as the eye can see, also about 20 miles from Ben Macdui. I was out walking my doggo on an early morning in May. My parents were still asleep because it was like 5 a.m. I decide to go up a nearby hill that takes about 3 to 4 hours to get to the top and back to the village. I do this walk sometimes when I feel up for it. Everything felt super normal, just out taking the doggo for a walk, kinda normal. We get about a quarter of the way up and I let my dog Oscar run to this lil pond about 30 meters ahead so he could get a drink. While I'm walking to the pond I see Oscar stood still looking over the water where there's a bunch of trees at the other side, and making this little soft boof barking noise like he noticed someone but wasn't sure about whether to go after it because he knows I'm going to tell him off. I just think he saw a person so I put his leash on in case he does decide to go after whoever he saw. About a couple minutes go by and I let him off his leash again. He's running round, picking up sticks and just being hyper so I play with him for a little bit. I start to notice instantly a very distinct lack of birds tweeting around the area and feeling like something definitely wasn't right with Oscar. I kneel down to pet him and he just looks at me like he's scared of me touching him. I pick up a little pine cone and throw it ahead of him on the track we're walking and he just sits there looking sad. I try walking up to him again. He just shoots off making a high-pitched whining noise, and nearly tripping up like he was terrified of me for some reason. I shout his name and tell him to come back but he went in the direction where he saw whatever he saw at the pond. I had completely lost sight of sound of where he could have gone for about 5 minutes, so I started to panic and was shouting his name as loud as I could. I stop for a second and try to see if I can hear him rustling around somewhere but absolutely nothing. Actually there was no sound of anything, still, no birds, no wind, no people in sight, no signal on my phone. I start to freak out and kinda tear up as I'm like for fuck's sake. The silence was almost deafening. Every time I thought I'd heard Oscar, I'd stop and listen, but nothing. I got back to the track after about 10 minutes, still calling his name and tearing up, and this is when I heard growling/barking sounds coming from in the woods. I run toward where it's coming from and I see Oscar further up the hill from where I just was, but he was running after something. I thought it was still just a person he was running after till I shouted his name as loud as I could. And instantly stopping as soon as I saw what it was he was chasing. What I saw looked like Pick, but was a little smaller, skinnier and black, walking on twos like a person. I started feeling absolute dread and panic as I was running toward Oscar as fast as I could to get him, shouting his name and telling him to come to me. Oscar just fucking turns round and runs back to me with his tongue hanging out like it's a regular Tuesday. I was just glad he was alright. I tried looking up to see where it had gone but I couldn't see it, so I just put Oscar on his leash and ran as fast as I could back to the village. Barely caring about what I saw till I got home really. Some fucking big dog man, fuck knows, or what the shit. When Oscar got back to me I noticed he was acting normal again, which was good. It freaks me out now I think of it. I live less than a mile from where I saw it. I still go up those hills with people though, because I had been for about a year before that happened. I'm always going to be wondering about it though, like I know there's going to be more somewhere way up there. Anyone round Cairngorms see or hear anything like this? I only saw the back of it and it was headed up the hill and going sort of left, which was a pretty dense part of the woods. The hill track goes up for a long time and round and down the hill, but I was off track because I know my way around this hill a bit. It seemed like it wasn't really bothered by me shouting or Oscar barking. It was just going where it was going and I was more focused on getting Oscar and bolting down the hill, but just seeing something like this isn't a regular occurrence around here. When you think of these creatures, you think of all these Americans that glorify these stories and make it seem like spooky shit only happens over there. I mean, there's some stories of creatures in Scotland, from like the 1200s to 1700s, or some shit in the hills and mountains around here, but seeing what this was made me think that there should really be an in-depth investigation here.